Station, this is Rob Navias with NASA Public Affairs at Mission Control, Houston. How do you hear me?
We get you loud and clear, Rob.
Well, it's great to see you guys. It's just been a few days since launch, but you're looking hale and hearty. Let me start off with a question to Scott. You and Mikhail are settling into your home on orbit for the next year. How have the first few days gone? And has the reality of the year-long mission, its sheer duration, and the workload ahead taken hold yet?
Well, speaking for myself, the ride to orbit was impressive, as it always is. The docking on the first launch day is really a great thing. I think there's a lot of advantages to doing that. But once I got on board the space station, it really felt like I was visiting an old home. Felt very comfortable. But there is a lot of work to be done here, and the pace of work at times can be hectic. Just the things we need to do to get moved in it's really a busy time. So even though we got here, I think on it's all kinds of, even a little bit fuzzy, but on Saturday morning, basically we're supposed to have the weekend off, but we really spent those 2 days moving in. So we've basically been working since we got here.
Mikhail, there is particular interest in how you and Scott will handle the psychological grind of spending a year in space. Are there any specific methods the two of you plan to use to maintain an even temperament, or will the busy workload of 4 space station expeditions be enough to keep your mind off the calendar and the clock?
Well, I think it's going to be hard not to notice months and hours. The time flies a little slower here. But as far as our psychological compatibility, we have been working really hard on the ground to work that out, and we have lots and lots of support, and our psychological success is given. I'm very sure about our success, and I'm sure that we will not have even a modicum of any psychological issues. And the guys who will be coming up to see us are also excellent people. There will be no problems. Thank you.
Scott, along those same lines, in less than 2 weeks, a SpaceX Dragon cargo craft will be coming your way, and the first of a long list of key operational events for you and your crewmates throughout this long mission. Is this the variety and pace of work that will keep you focused, or will it be necessary to tune out from time to time like any of us have to do over the course of a year to maintain a healthy balance for ourselves?
Well, right now I'm just kind of taking it day by day, and I think I'm looking a little bit towards the next major event, but I'm not thinking about this in the manner that I'm like planning for all the different major activities that are kind of come along. I'm just kind of trying to take it day by day, pace myself, and absolutely, working at a maybe a little bit slower pace than I did last time will be important. Keeping my energy level up, so I have the appropriate reserves to deal with all these different major activities, moving the PMM, all the visiting vehicles, some spacewalks. Keeping a high enough energy level to do that, and then respond if something happens that we have to work through the night, or respond to some kind of an emergency situation. So I think a good life-work balance is important, and that's I think even more important in some cases on the space station.
And finally, for both of you, I'm struck by the variety of key anniversaries coming up that you'll be celebrating in orbit. In the next few weeks, the 54th anniversary of Yuri Gagarin's historic flight, the 40th anniversary of Apollo-Soyuz in July, and in November, the 15th anniversary of a permanent human occupancy on the station. Can each of you discuss how fitting it is that an American and a Russian are together in space for a year, conducting vital research for future exploration, perhaps something that would have been unheard of a few decades ago?
Well, I think when you're somewhere for nearly a year, you'll experience nearly all the anniversaries. Some of those are significant. Apollo, Soyuz, and the anniversary of the permanent presence on the space station. And so I guess it is somewhat interesting that we're spending such a long time up here, and it's also at the same time of these significant anniversaries. I think what's even more important is we have this international partnership, this international space station, and we're all doing great work up here. We're one big team. Our expedition. 43 crew members. It's more than just Misha and I. And the international partnership, in my mind, is one of the high points of this International Space Station.
I think that we are really lucky, myself and Scott, in spite of the fact that this is hard work, it's going to be tough, but we are really lucky because we will be able to celebrate so many different anniversaries while being up in space, and we will be celebrating those holidays. It's very symbolic that prior to Soyuz Apollo and during this flight, we had cooperation between Americans and the Russians, and we continue this with doing same work together on board of the International Space Station.
Thank you very much, both of you, Scott and Mikhail. We appreciate your time today. We wish you all the best of luck. Be well and fly safe.
Well, thank you, Rob. Appreciate your time and appreciate talking to all the folks out there that, following the great work we do on board the space station.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you, NASA Public Affairs and Expedition 43 flight engineers Scott Kelly and Mikhail Kornienko. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.